All right, everyone, welcome. Today, we're diving into a theory that is, well, it's pretty mind-bending. It basically reframes the entire universe as a kind of living, thinking, self-writing story. So get ready because we're about to explore a totally new way of looking at, well, everything.
So let's just start with the big central question here. What if what if the universe isn't just a collection of stuff we live in, but an actual ongoing computation that's constantly recording and, even refining its own history as it goes?
And that is the core idea of what's called Emergent Informational Ledger Theory, or EILT. It proposes that physical reality, the stuff you can see and touch, isn't the starting point. Nope. It's the output. It's a stable record of information that's always updating its own story, kind of like it's learning from experience. Okay, so if our reality is the software, you gotta ask, what's the hardware it's all running on? Well, this theory says it all starts at the deepest, most fundamental level there is, the quantum level. EILT suggests that underneath everything we see, there's this thing called the Roolead. And you can think of it as just this vast, chaotic ocean of pure potential. It's an entangled soup that contains literally every possible computation that could ever happen. It's everything. So how in the world do you get a stable, predictable universe out of all that chaos? Well, imagine the universe has a fundamental clock speed, a tick rate. At the tiniest possible scale, we're talking Planck length and Planck time, this clock forces all that quantum fuzziness to snap into the solid, definite states that we experience every single moment. It's like a rendering engine for reality. Now, this is what's so cool. The theory reframes those fundamental constants of physics, the speed of light, gravity, Planck's constant. In EILT, they're not just some random numbers. They are the universe's low-level operating system. They're the hypervisor that enforces the absolute basic rules and, keeps the whole cosmic computer from crashing.
Okay, so we've got the quantum hardware, but how does all that weirdness give rise to the space-time that we live in, the actual stage for our lives?
The core analogy here, the one that kind of unlocks the whole thing, is that space-time itself is a kind of cosmic blockchain. Every single event that happens, from a star exploding to you blinking your eyes, is a transaction that gets resolved, verified, and then written into this permanent, unchangeable, ever-growing ledger. And this gives us a really clear way to think about time, right? The past, well, that's a set of permanent blocks that can't be changed. That history has already been written. The future is just this open, fuzzy space of possibilities. And the present moment, right now, that's the active ratehead, the very tip of the pen, committing the next block to the chain. This model even gives us a whole new take on gravity. It's not some fundamental force that's pulling things together. Instead, gravity is more like a cosmic auditor. It's this deep statistical pressure to keep things orderly and to pack information as efficiently as possible, all to make the universe more stable. And what about something like dark matter? EILT offers this really elegant idea. It's the informational scaffolding of the universe. Think of it like a structural blueprint, a kind of directory of dense entanglement that basically tells normal matter, the ink, where it's supposed to go to form galaxies and stars. But wait, there's another layer here, beyond just the physical stuff. The theory calls it Platonic space, and this is a realm of pure, perfect ideas. We're talking about the ideal blueprint for a circle, the perfect form of a tree, or even powerful cultural ideas. These are stable patterns that our universe discovers and then brings into reality. So, putting it all together, what was the Big Bang? Well, in this framework, it wasn't just some big explosion. It was the Genesis block, the very first transaction, the first entry that kicked off the entire cosmic ledger we call our universe. All right, let's go a level deeper. If the universe is a computation, what's its motivation? What problem is it actually trying to solve? Is there an algorithm driving it all? The driving force, this theory says, is something called the free energy principle. And at every single scale, from a tiny particle all the way up to a whole galaxy, the universe is driven by one simple goal: minimize surprise. It's constantly trying to predict itself better and reduce any errors in that prediction. It's a system that's always self-correcting. And you see this everywhere. It's the same basic drive. It's in a star settling down into a stable, predictable burn. It's a living cell fighting off chaos to maintain its form. It's a galaxy slowly settling into a perfect spiral. And it's even your own brain right now trying to predict the very next word I'm going to say. It's one rule to rule them all.
Now, this universal drive, it has an ultimate destination. The end goal is a state of perfect balance, where there are absolutely no surprises left. It's a state that physicists call thermodynamic equilibrium, or to be a bit more dramatic, heat death.
And now we get to the part that, well, it changes everything. Where does our consciousness fit into this huge cosmic story?
Think of our brains like an incredibly advanced biological operating system. They take that overwhelming infinite data from the Ruliad, and they filter it way, way down into a simple, manageable user interface that's useful for our survival.
And consciousness itself, it's not just a movie we're watching. Yield proposes that our conscious awareness is an active right function. Our choices, our observations, our very subjective experience of the world, that's the process of committing an update to the cosmic ledger.
So let that sink in for a second. This means we are not just passive readers of the universe's story. Through our actions, through our discoveries, and just through our awareness, we are actively helping to write it. We are co-authors of reality. And this whole process is speeding up like crazy. Our tools, things like language, culture, and especially now artificial intelligence, they're like powerful accelerators. They allow us to discover and create these new ideal patterns and write them into the ledger at a speed that's just completely unprecedented. And that brings us to a final, pretty staggering thought. This theory doesn't just explain the universe. It kind of hands us the pen. It suggests that reality is an open book, and we are holding it. So the question it leaves us with is, what story do we want to write next?